Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question right out of the gate. Have you ever wondered why some women can walk into a room and without saying a single word, every man suddenly notices them self-assured femininity is a quality that blends grace with strength, softness with certainty, and compassion with clear self-respect? It is not about fitting into outdated stereotypes of what a feminine woman should be, nor is it about competing with masculine energy. Instead, it is about fully embracing one's natural identity while maintaining a deep, unwavering belief in personal worth. When a woman chooses herself, she is making a conscious decision to prioritize her values, her peace, and her standards. That choice radiates outward, creating an energy that draws the right kind of attention without her having to chase it. At the heart of self assured femininity is emotional security. A woman who embodies this trait is not rattled by small setbacks, criticisms, or other people's opinions. She understands that her value is not dependent on constant praise or validation from others. This creates a certain calm in the way she carries herself, a kind of silent strength that communicates she is comfortable in her own skin. People, and men in particular, find this energy magnetic because it stands out in a world where insecurity is often disguised as confidence. Choosing yourself also means refusing to compromise on the things that truly matter to you. In relationships, it shows up as setting healthy boundaries without feeling guilty. You can be kind and warm while still making it clear what is and is not acceptable in your life. This is not about building walls. It is about knowing that your peace and dignity are worth protecting. Men respect this deeply because it signals maturity and self-respect, and they are instinctively drawn to someone who respects herself enough to filter out what does not align with her values. Another element of self-assured femininity is the ability to maintain individuality even in close relationships. When you choose yourself, you keep pursuing your own passions, friendships, and growth rather than losing your identity in someone else's life. This independence is not about being distant or cold. It is about showing that your happiness is self-sourced. This makes you more attractive because it removes the pressure from a partner to be your sole provider of joy. A man who is drawn to this quality will not just want to be around you. He will feel inspired by your independence. Self-assured femininity also involves authenticity. Choosing yourself means you no longer feel the need to pretend or mold yourself to fit into someone else's idea of what you should be. You speak your truth, but you do so with kindness and emotional intelligence. You do not seek to dominate conversations or prove your point aggressively. Rather, you communicate with clarity and respect. This kind of authenticity fosters trust, and trust is one of the strongest attractors in any relationship. There is also a powerful physical component to this trait, though it is not about beauty in the traditional sense. It is in the way you walk into a room, the posture you hold, the steadiness in your gaze, and the warmth of your smile. These are subtle cues of confidence that signal you are at ease with yourself. Men are perceptive to these signals, even subconsciously, and they often respond with heightened interest. Choosing yourself consistently builds this physical presence because you no longer move through the world apologizing for existing. You take up space with quiet assurance. Finally, self-assured femininity thrives on self-investment. When you choose yourself, you invest time in learning, growing, and improving your emotional, physical, and mental well-being. You nurture your own dreams and ambitions instead of waiting for someone else to give your life meaning. This creates a sense of purpose that makes you radiant from within. The glow of a woman who is fulfilled and content with herself is something that no makeup or outfit can replicate. That inner light draws people in effortlessly because it is rare and deeply appealing. When a woman combines all of these elements, emotional security, strong boundaries, individuality, authenticity, confident presence, and self-investment, she embodies self-assured femininity in its truest form. This is the trait that 95.7% of men find irresistible, not because it manipulates or plays games, but because it naturally inspires respect, admiration, and desire. Choosing yourself is the foundation that makes this trait possible, and it is the quiet force that transforms both how you see yourself and how others experience. Confidence over validation is the practice of grounding your self-worth in who you are rather than in the approval, attention, or praise of others. It is a deep internal belief that your value does not fluctuate based on someone else's opinion or temporary interest. When you choose yourself, you make the conscious decision to be your own source of affirmation. This mindset transforms how you interact with the world, especially in relationships, because it frees you from the exhausting cycle of constantly seeking reassurance. Choosing yourself means that you recognize your worth is already established and unshakable. You don't need a man to tell you that you're beautiful to believe it. You don't need a friend to reassure you of your importance to feel valued. These affirmations may feel good, but they are no longer the foundation of your identity. True confidence is self-sustaining. It comes from knowing your strengths, accepting your flaws, and committing to personal growth regardless of external acknowledgement. This creates a natural magnetism because people sense that you are not trying to impress or manipulate them into liking you. When confidence replaces the need for validation, you begin to act from a place of authenticity. You express your opinions without fear of rejection, and you set boundaries without apologizing. You stop bending over backwards to make sure others approve of your choices. In relationships, this shifts the power dynamic significantly. Instead of chasing someone's attention or overanalyzing their every word, you focus on whether they align with your values and enhance your life. Men are especially drawn to this because it communicates that you are with them by choice, not necessity, and that your self-esteem is not dependent on their approval. Confidence over validation also changes the way you handle rejection or criticism. When you choose yourself, rejection does not destroy you because you do not see it as a reflection of your worth. Instead, you view it as redirection towards something or someone better suited for you. This resilience makes you emotionally safe to be around because you are not easily destabilized by life's ups and downs. The ability to stay grounded even in moments of uncertainty is rare, and it stands out in a world where many people tie their happiness to others' acceptance. Another aspect of this trait is that it empowers you to make decisions based on your needs and desires rather than public opinion. Whether it's ending a relationship that no longer serves you, pursuing a career path others don't understand, or choosing solitude over unhealthy company, your actions are guided by self-trust. This independence of thought communicates to others that you are a leader in your own life. Men often find this level of self-direction attractive because it shows that you can stand strong on your own, yet still welcome partnership from a place of strength. Confidence over validation also allows you to be fully present in your interactions. When you are not preoccupied with impressing someone or wondering if they like you, you can listen more attentively, connect more deeply, and engage more genuinely. People can feel when you are with them for the experience rather than for the approval you hope to receive afterward. This presence builds deeper connections because it is rooted in mutual respect, not performance. There is also a subtle but powerful shift in your body language when you choose confidence over validation. You walk with steadier posture, maintain eye contact without anxiety, and speak with clarity rather than hesitation. These nonverbal cues signal self-assurance, and they are often more impactful than any words you say. Men, in particular, respond instinctively to these signals because they convey both strength and openness, a combination that is deeply appealing. The greatest freedom that comes from choosing yourself in this way is that you are no longer controlled by the fear of losing someone's approvals. You stop overcompensating, over-explaining, or overperforming just to keep people interested. This makes your relationships healthier because they are built on mutual respect and attraction rather than dependency. The right people will be drawn to your confidence, and the wrong ones will naturally drift away, saving you the emotional drain of trying to hold on to what was never meant for you. When you live from a place of confidence over validation, you radiate a quiet strength that cannot be faked. It is not about arrogance or superiority. It is about deeply knowing your worth and refusing to outsource it. This way of being draws in people who value you for who you are, not for the role you play in boosting their ego. In choosing yourself, you set the tone for how you will be treated, and that tone says you are already enough, with or without anyone's approval. Presence speaks louder than appearance means that the energy, confidence, and you bring into a space have a greater and more lasting impact than physical beauty alone. While appearance may catch initial attention, it is presence that holds it and leaves a deeper imprint. A print. When you choose yourself, you cultivate a presence that is grounded in self worth, emotional strength, and genuine connection rather than relying solely on how you look. This presence becomes magnetic because it reflects an inner security that is rare and valuable. Choosing yourself creates an inner foundation that shapes how you carry yourself, the way you walk into a room, make eye contact, and engage with others communicates volumes before you even speak. A woman who knows her value moves with a calm assurance that signals she belongs in any room she enters. She doesn't shrink or overcompensate, she simply exists with confidence. This type of presence draws attention naturally, not because she is demanding it, but because she is fully at ease with herself. Men and women alike notice this energy because it stands out in a world where many hide behind curated appearances. When you prioritize presence over appearance, your interactions become more impactful. Physical beauty might spark curiosity, but presence makes people remember you long after the moment has passed. It is in the way you listen intently when someone speaks, the way your expressions match your emotions, and the way you respond thoughtfully instead of rushing to impress. These small yet significant gestures create a sense of trust and respect, and they make people feel valued in your company. Choosing yourself strengthens this quality because you are not distracted by a need for constant validation. Your focus is on authentic connection. Presence also communicates your emotional state more powerfully than appearance ever could. A perfectly styled outfit cannot mask insecurity, resentment, or desperation for long. On the other hand, a woman who feels secure in herself radiates a kind of peace that is difficult to fake. She carries an inner calm that says she is in control of her emotions and choices. This emotional steadiness is deeply attractive because it signals that she can handle challenges without losing her sense of self. It creates a safe and inviting environment for others to engage with her on a deeper level. Another way presence speaks louder than appearance is through the authenticity it projects. When you choose yourself, you let go of the need to perform or fit into someone else's expectations. You are comfortable showing your real personality, your quirks, your humor, your opinions without fear of judgment. This authenticity is a breath of fresh air in a culture that often values surface level perfection over genuine humanity. It makes your interactions feel real, and it encourages others to drop their guard and be themselves around you. Your body language plays a significant role in cultivating presence. Confidence overflows into how you stand, how you gesture, and how you maintain eye contact. Choosing yourself teaches you to inhabit your body fully instead of trying to hide or alter it to fit an external ideal. People notice this embodiment, the relaxed shoulders, the open posture, the ease in movement, and they respond to it instinctively. These subtle cues convey that you are self-assured and comfortable, which is far more attractive than any designer outfit or perfect hairstyle. Presence also impacts how you handle attention. When you choose yourself, you are not overwhelmed or overly dependent on the approval that attention brings. You can accept compliments gracefully without attaching your worth to them. This detachment allows you to be in the moment and engage sincerely, rather than calculating how you are being perceived. People can feel when you are genuinely present with them rather than distracted by thoughts of appearance, and it makes them want to stay connected. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of presence over appearance is its lasting effect. Beauty may fade in memory, but presence lingers. People may forget what you wore or how your hair looked, but they will remember how you made them feel. They will remember the confidence in your voice, the warmth of your smile, and the comfort of your attention. Yeah. Choosing yourself ensures that the energy you project is authentic, grounded, and consistent, making your presence unforgettable. When presence is your priority, your relationships change. Instead of attracting people who are only drawn to surface beauty, you begin to attract those who are captivated by your essence, your confidence, your kindness, your strength. You stop competing in the endless cycle of trying to look better than others, and you start focusing on being more fully yourself. This shift not only draws the right kind of attention, but also deepens your connections, creating bonds that are built on more than just physical attraction. Boundaries with grace is the ability to protect your emotional, mental, and physical well being while communicating your needs in a way that is calm, respectful, and clear. It is about standing firm in what you will and will not accept without hostility, defensiveness, or guilt. When you choose yourself, you recognize that boundaries are not walls meant to shut people out. They are gates that allow the right people in while keeping harmful patterns and behaviors out. This approach not only preserves your self respect, but also strengthens the quality of your relationships. Choosing yourself means understanding that you are responsible for teaching others how to treat you. When you set boundaries with grace, you send a message that you value your own peace and well being enough to speak up when something is not aligned with your values. You do this without attacking, shaming, or belittling the other person. Instead, you focus on expressing your needs and limits in a way that leaves space for healthy communication. This style of boundary setting makes it more likely that people will listen and respect your stance rather than become defensive. Grace and boundaries comes from emotional security. When you are confident in your worth, you do not need to prove your point through anger or aggression. You can calmly state your limits because you know they are justified. This is especially powerful in relationships where emotions often run high. For example, if a partner crosses a line, you can address it directly but gently, explaining why it matters to you and what you need moving forward. This approach fosters understanding rather than conflict, and it shows that you value the relationship enough to communicate clearly. Setting boundaries with grace also means being consistent. When you choose yourself, you understand that a boundary is not just something you say in the moment. It is something you uphold through your actions. If you tell someone you will not tolerate disrespect, but then accept it repeatedly, you undermine your own credibility. So, consistency shows that you take yourself seriously, and it encourages others to take you seriously as well. The grace comes in delivering this consistency without resentment or a desire to punish. It is simply a standard you live by. Boundaries with grace protect your time and energy. You begin to recognize which commitments align with your priorities and which ones drain you. Saying a no becomes easier because you are no longer driven by the fear of disappointing others. You can decline invitations or requests without over explaining or apologizing excessively. Your a no is not harsh or cold. It is simply a reflection of your commitment to your well being. People often respect this more than they expect because it communicates that you value your time and theirs. Another key aspect of setting boundaries with grace is being willing to walk away when necessary. Choosing yourself means you are not afraid to remove yourself from situations, conversations, or relationships that repeatedly violate your boundaries. The grace here is that you can exit without creating unnecessary drama. You do not need to make the other person the villain or prove them wrong. You simply recognize that the dynamic is not healthy for you, and you choose to protect your peace. This quiet strength is deeply respected and often admired. Boundaries with grace also require self-awareness. You cannot communicate your limits if you do not know them yourself. Choosing yourself involves regular reflection on what feels good, what feels draining, and what behaviors you are unwilling to tolerate. Once you are clear on these, you can express them more effectively to others. Self-awareness also helps you recognize when your boundaries are being tested and respond before resentment builds up. The beauty of boundaries with grace is that they create healthier, more respectful relationships. When you are clear about your needs and communicate them calmly, the right people will appreciate your honesty and respond positively. Those who cannot respect your boundaries will naturally distance themselves, which is a form of self-protection. Either outcome serves you because it ensures that you are surrounded by people who value and respect you. In choosing yourself, you learn that boundaries are not selfish. They are acts of self-love and respect. They prevent burnout, reduce resentment, and keep you aligned with your values. When set with grace, they preserve relationships rather than damage them because they are rooted in honesty and mutual respect. This balance of firmness and kindness allows you to protect your peace while still remaining open to connection, which is the hallmark of a woman who truly values herself. Detachment from outcomes is the ability to invest effort, intention, and care into something without becoming emotionally dependent on a specific result. It is not about apathy or lack of ambition, but about releasing the need to control how things unfold. When you choose yourself, you develop an inner security that allows you to act from a place of self-worth rather than fear of loss or failure. This mindset creates freedom because your happiness is no longer tied to whether a certain person stays, a particular opportunity works out, or a specific plan goes exactly as you envisioned. Choosing yourself means understanding that your value does not rise or fall based on an external outcome. You can give your best in a relationship, career, or personal goal, but if it does not work out, you do not see it as a reflection of your inadequacy. Instead, you see it as redirection towards something more aligned. This perspective allows you to approach opportunities and connections with confidence rather than desperation. People are drawn to this because it creates an energy of self-assuredness rather than neediness. Detachment from outcomes also allows you to be more present in your experiences. When you are overly focused on securing a particular result, you often miss the richness of the process itself. You may become so preoccupied with where things are going that you fail to enjoy where you are. Choosing yourself shifts the focus from proving your worth through success to living in alignment with your values and joy in the moment. This presence is magnetic because it makes interactions feel authentic rather than transactional. In relationships, detachment from outcomes changes the entire dynamic. Instead of clinging tightly to make sure someone stays, you allow them the freedom to choose you without pressure. If they stay, it is because they genuinely want to be there, not because you manipulated or begged them into it. This creates a foundation of mutual respect. If they leave, you accept it as an indication that they were not meant for your journey. This acceptance protects your self-esteem and prevents the emotional chaos that comes from tying your identity to another person's decision. Detachment also fosters resilience. When you are not fixated on a single outcome, setbacks do not crush you. You may feel disappointment, but it does not paralyze you. Instead, you can adapt, pivot, and continue forward with clarity. Choosing yourself equips you with this resilience because your sense of self is rooted internally rather than in the unpredictable approval or behavior of others. You trust that you can handle whatever comes your way, which makes you bolder in taking risks and pursuing your goals. Another benefit of detachment from outcomes is the improvement in decision-making. When you are overly attached, fear of losing a desired result can cloud your judgment and lead you to compromise your values. Detachment allows you to make choices based on what feels right in the moment rather than what you think will guarantee a specific result. This kind of decision-making builds integrity and keeps you aligned with your true self. It also prevents you from staying in situations that no longer serve you simply because you are afraid to let go of what you've invested. Detachment does not mean withholding effort. You still give your best, show up fully, and engage with sincerity, but you release the belief that the outcome determines your worth. This is a powerful shift because it changes your energy. People can sense when you are operating from confidence versus when you are operating from fear of loss. Azaz. Confidence creates attraction and respect, while fear often leads to imbalance and overcompensation. This mindset also deepens your peace of mind. When you accept that you cannot control every outcome, you free yourself from constant anxiety about the future. You learn to trust the process and believe that what is meant for you will not pass you by. Choosing yourself reinforces this belief because you know that you will always find your way forward, regardless of the twists and turns along the path. Ultimately, detachment from outcomes is an act of self-love. It allows you to remain whole and steady no matter what life brings. You stop living in a state of emotional bargaining where your happiness depends on a yes from the outside world. Instead, you operate from the understanding that your worth is non-negotiable. When you choose yourself in this way, you become free to engage with life fully, give without fear, and walk away from what is not aligned. All while remaining at peace within yourself. The prize is the mindset that you bring value, depth, and uniqueness into every connection or opportunity, and that your worth is not determined by whether someone else recognizes it. It is the understanding that being chosen by another person does not define your value. You define it yourself. When you choose yourself, you begin to see your qualities, strengths, and growth as something worth cherishing and protecting. This perspective shifts the way you approach relationships, challenges, and opportunities because you operate from self respect rather than from a place of scarcity or fear. Choosing yourself means acknowledging that your time, attention, and energy are valuable resources. Just as you would not give away something precious to someone who does not appreciate it, you become intentional about who you share your life with. You no longer chase validation or beg to be noticed because you know that the right people will naturally be drawn to what you offer. This mindset creates a quiet confidence that others can sense. Men, in particular, respond strongly to this because it signals that being in your life is a privilege, not a given. When you see yourself as the prize, you raise your standards. You stop settling for less than what aligns with your values and start expecting the same level of respect and effort that you give. This is not about arrogance or thinking you are better than others. It is about knowing that you are worthy of being treated with kindness, consistency, and consideration. Choosing yourself reinforces these standards because you no longer tolerate behaviors that undermine your peace or dignity. You would rather be alone than in the company of someone who does not value you. Being the prize also means you bring something meaningful to the table beyond surface beauty or charm. You invest in your personal growth, pursue your passions, and nurture your emotional intelligence. You are curious, self-aware, and committed to becoming the best version of yourself. This makes your presence fulfilling, not just attractive. A person who values themselves in this way does not need to compete for attention because their substance speaks for itself. People remember the way you made them feel and the depth you bring to their lives, which is far more enduring than fleeting physical appeal. When you choose yourself, you stop overgiving in the hope of securing someone's love or approval. Cootie. You understand that love should be mutual and that effort should flow both ways. This balance is essential in relationships because it prevents resentment and burnout. Seeing yourself as the prize allows you to receive without guilt, knowing that you deserve care, attention, and affection just as much as you give it. It also allows you to walk away when someone's actions do not match their words, because you know that being undervalued is not an option for you. You are the prize is also a reminder that not everyone will recognize your worth, and that's okay. Some people may overlook or underestimate you because they cannot see beyond their own limitations. Choosing yourself means you do not shrink or change to fit their vision.